buongiorno, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Joey, and I am working today on my second project with our bargain bead box for January. It was called Dusty Rose, and it was so fabulous that if you didn't see the first video, I'll put a link in the description box under this video. But I started out to design this bracelet, and I just was so thrilled as I was unboxing and sharing the contents of the box that I started to design like other things, and I got sidetracked from my bracelet, and I did these really beautiful earrings with the toggle clasps that came in the box. So they are convertible, so it looks like a shoulder duster, very dangly, beautiful earring with a gemstone charm at the top. But since it's the toggle that I used, you can slip this out and set this little part aside and have just a nice hoop earring with a little gemstone dangle at the top. So that was what sidetracked me from my bracelet. So I'm going to set these aside, and I have almost totally completed the bracelet, but I wanted to make a connector for my bracelet, an artisan hammered bare copper heart, and I'm adding in a couple of things, a couple of elements of my own that did not come in the box. One of them is gold, so I'm adding a little splash of gold with these disc spacers, and I'm using 3 different gauges of my Soft Flex gold wire. Let me just show you the package. I'm using 20 gauge for my simple loop components. I'm using 22 gauge to wire wrap my smaller components, and I'm using 24 gauge to do this here, where I wrap these gemstones onto my little heart components. I am also adding in pearls from my stash. I had these little freshwater pearls. They're around 6 millimeter. And I just love all of the misshapen shapes that they come in, the imperfection, the organic, very natural, obviously uncontrived and not man-made look. And I just thought that it looked great to add the pearls in with these also very organic, uneven disc spacers or rondelles. They are dyed shell rondelles that came in the box. So the components turn out looking each one a little bit wonky because they are not perfectly uniform. So the other thing that I've added in with my pearls and my gold is some black disc spacers. When I started out with this box, I love rhodonite, and I loved the strand where the rhodonite was all the dusty pinks and the pastel cocoa brown and, you know, those earthy clay colors, and I love that. But when I started looking at the strands with the coin beads and the 8 millimeter beads with all the black, I said, oh, I don't like rhodonite with the black in it, because I really don't. I normally don't even buy a strand if it's not all in the pink colors. But I started to think, which is what these boxes do, about the fact that they put this black, what was this, black tourmaline and faceted with the box as an accent, and I looked at it with the rhodonite and I thought, what is more classic than a little black sparkle, this beautiful earthy neutral pink, and pearls and gold and copper? What a combination. And then I couldn't stop designing with the box. So what's about to happen here is we'll do this bracelet pretty quickly. And a few months back, if you didn't see it, I did a video where I took one of my favorite chains and I made like a base necklace. So this chain is solid brass, it's E-coated, and it's got this beautiful embossing, and it's just one of my favorite chains that I've found in the marketplace in the last couple of years. And I made that my base necklace. So this does not have a clasp on the back. This part that goes around my head has no clasp. The clasp is 2 really decorative gold-filled lobster claws at the bottom of the strand, and then I can add in sections. So I just did this beautiful little add-in section, and I can slip this off. I can just slip it off and put anything I want on this chain. So I just pulled this out because as I was making this bracelet, I thought, you know, I really want more of this. These components are so gorgeous. The copper with the rhodonite, there were these beautiful AB rondelle crystals in the box, which look gorgeous, the pink and the black and the gold. And this bracelet is gorgeous, but it's just not enough for me. So I'm gonna take this off. With last month's bargain bead box, we had this beautiful Alexandrite AB, and we had these blue lace agate chip beads, and I did an add-in section for that necklace with last month's box as well. And I think I'm going to finish this bracelet and then make a lot more of these beautiful components and add in the pearl and the black and the gold and the copper, and make this really beautiful component, artisan component add-in section for my chain. And then there will be earrings, a bracelet, and a necklace to, you know, to wear with all of these beautiful colors. So this is what I love about a beautifully curated box, and you can always trust Bargain Bead Box to be beautifully curated. That's what I love about it, is it does spark creativity. It really does. And sometimes it makes you do things you just wouldn't do on your own. And for me, that is definitely true. So I have a couple of links of bare copper wire. I did not measure. I would say it's about 4 to 5 inches here. And I was just playing. So I really like the way my two components came out for my bracelet, but there's so many different ways to make wire hearts. So I thought that I would show you how I did it. If you want to do two, let me show you what these look like. I did these so that they mirror each other. I did a more open spiral on one side of my heart and a tighter spiral on the other side of my heart. And they came like that, but then I'm flipping it so that this component is alternated. But I did leave a little space for making a connector out of it, and I'm going to wire wrap pearls and connect these two together with some wire wrapped pearls. And I'm also going to wire wrap some of the gemstone, the black gemstones, onto the opposite side. It's going to come over here. So that's going to be like this gorgeous little artisan component. You can also do those for earrings, and my secret to doing them is doing both of them at the same time as much as possible, as much as I can hold the wires together. So I'm going to just warm, smooth, straighten these wires and just hold them together. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and let's see, it can be about in the middle. In fact, you know what, I'm not going to do my round nose pliers. I am going to shift to my 6-step bail making plier, just because this is not cone shaped, and sometimes when you're trying to hold two wires together to do wraps, it's a little bit easier to hold on to it. And let's see, what did I do? I did the smallest one. So I'm going to flip this around and get the smallest, where the smallest is on top. And I've got a nice tight grip here, and I'm just going to make this little loop holding these guys together. I go really slow when I'm wire working, and I do not skip the step. I keep my wire warm and smooth and straight, and it just yields better results. So I hope that it isn't boring. I'm not a wire artist. I'm not an expert, but I do have some experience, and I love to play with wire. So, I just share that with you. But if you can see what I'm doing, I'm just warming, I'm holding on to it, but I need this to go upward for my heart. So while it's in the tool, I'm just going to get a hold of it and kind of send it upward a little bit. And so they're exactly the same now. And the other thing that I love to do when I'm making hearts, that I love to use when I'm making hearts, is this little 2-piece mandrel set. It is a stepped mandrel, and there's all of the sizes you could ever possibly want. So I'm going to be working with this one. And here again, if I keep my wires together, it makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger because I may use this in my necklace. I'm going to go ahead and use the ones that I made for my bracelet, but you'll be able to see exactly what I did. So I'm just going to pick a spot, and start to curve my little heart. And I'm I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I am going to separate these at a given point, but I just like to hold them together and just, you know, make sure, trying to stay under the camera and not pull this up to my face so that I can see what I'm doing. But okay, I'll separate them now. I mean, at a certain point you can't keep them together, but that's a really good trick if you're making earrings to not struggle with your second earring, you know, being as like the first one. And because I started with 2 pieces of wire that are exactly the same length, if I'm going to spiral now, I have exactly the same length of wire, so you stand a good chance of your spirals coming out to being, you know, the right size. So now I will come with my round nose pliers, and let's see, the shorter side, I'll make that my tighter spiral. So I'm going to go to the very tip and make a tiny little loop. Couldn't think of the word for loop. I guess I'm not awake yet this morning. And now I am going to hammer this, so I don't need to worry about putting any marks, you know, marring it or denting it, because I'm going to dent it anyway. I love doing these hearts because no two, at least for me, no two ever come out alike. And sometimes when I'm doing like components for a bracelet, I'll actually sit and make a few and then choose the one that I love the best for my piece. And then I have extras made for another project. Okay, we'll have to come back and work on this one a little bit because there's no place for me to connect here. But if I make this a charm on my necklace, which is kind of what I was thinking, I can use the other side. But a lot of times what I'll do is just after, and when you hammer, you can do this after, but you can spread this to make a little space. But when you hammer a piece of wire, you change the molecular structure and it does spread out. And you always have to go back and kind of tidy up your whatever work you have done. So now on this side, I'm going to do essentially the same thing, but I want to start with not as tight of a center, and I'm going to wrap this one really loose. I want this to be open, so I'm not going to be as, you know, as strict about my coils lining up to each other like that. And before I start wrapping, just like nudge it to where I want it to be. But I love doing one side really tight and then one side more open. So I'm doing the same motion, but I'm just not pushing it so that my next coil lines up to, give myself a little space here. And again, this is really fun, and if you intend to hammer, you really don't have to stress about how this is looking at this point, because it's, you know, you're going to hammer it and change it all anyway. But so if you're newer to this kind of thing, I highly recommend this because there's no rules, and the way your heart, your shape comes out is the way that it comes out. You know, there's no right or wrong to this. It's just, it is what it is, and that it's artisan. It's obviously not machine made. Okay, I'm ready to hammer. Actually love the way that little wonky heart came out. And like I said, I think I'm going to be doing this on my necklace part as maybe as a charm. That's what I was thinking. So I have my little bench block off to the side here, and I am going to just come over here on the edge. I don't want to move my bracelet, and I'm going to hammer, and I'm going to use let's see, I'm going to use my ball peen hammer today. So this is a ball peen hammer. This side is good for flattening. If you hit on the edge, you'll get like a different look, like almost a diamond cutting, like little slices. And the ball end of this will give you that hammered, like dented look. And I quite love all of them. So I'm just gonna, it doesn't take much either. I'm just gonna flatten a little bit first, and then I'll flip it over and do the other side. Okay, that's what it looks like. So you can see that things spread out a little bit. And so like I was saying, on this side, you really don't have a spot for a jump ring. So if you just back it down, just so you can get a jump ring in there if you want to. On this side, it can either go through the here or a larger one through that space. So that side is good. I'm just going to take my pliers now and just finesse the shape. The hammering makes it a little bit rigid. It work hardens it, and you know, it's nice and strong for a component now. That is the cutest, funkiest little heart. I just love it. So I'm going to set that aside because that may go into my necklace, and I'm going to do the wire wrapping on this heart so we can start connecting. So I have a 24 gauge piece of my soft flex wire in gold, and I quite liked the gold on the copper. And I am going to take 3 of these faceted black tourmaline beads. Whoops. Get one off this strand. And I'm going to come to my opposite side. So I am wrapping on this side that is the little bit tighter side, and I'm just going to get it started. Just get my 24 gauge wire in there and get a few wraps. I tried to do 3 wraps in between each bead. So just get it going. Oops, wrong side. I want to wrap toward my bottom of my heart. So I have I'm pulling, so my tail is up here at the top, so that my longer piece I'm wrapping towards the bottom of my heart. I just get it started with my fingers, but it's small, so I'm definitely going to have to get my pliers in here. Okay, that's 3. And for me, I like to make really nice tight coils. I'm going to pull them up, have them right where I want them to be, and snuggle them down really nice and tight. I can go ahead and trim this tail off because it's only going to be in the way. And I'm going to, do front to back too, because I want my piece to look beautiful no matter which way you look at this little handmade component. Just trying to get that. It's a little bit sharp. Just get my pliers in there and tuck that where I cut it. There, that's great. Okay, now I'm going to feed on 1 bead. And just let it drop down. And I want my bead to sit on the outside of my heart component. So I'm kind of turning it on the wire like that. And now I'm going to start kind of lacing it to the heart frame. And I just use my fingers. I will get my pliers in here again, but to not kink the wire, just use my fingers to get it started, and then give it a nice pull around the frame. Gotta go again. That's not tight enough. I want it tighter. Got it that time. And I'll just keep it in that position, and I'm going to do 3 wraps just like we started with. Okay, and I'm just going to keep adjusting as I go, like just tightening up my coils to my bead. Let me get my nylon jaw pliers in here and just keep this wire nice and smooth. And I'm going to add another bead, bring it down to the heart and do 3 wraps, and just do that for all 3 beads. Where's Okay, it looks great, and I did do on this one, I just thought it was pretty to do a couple of wraps around the top of my loop, just because I'm laying the gold wire as an accent on the copper wire. I just thought it was pretty, so I'm just going to go around 2 times. Just a couple of neat, just to accent. Okay, and I just want to trim off in the back, so opposite, it's going to be like that. So this is going to be the back of this heart. I'm just going to trim right back here and make sure that's tucked. Okay, we can get to wire wrapping these 2 pieces together with the pearls, and I'm going to go up to the 22 gauge wire because that is what I needed to go through the holes. Pearls are notorious for having small holes, but I try to use the thickest gauge wire when I'm doing a bracelet component like this, the thickest that will fit through the beads. So yeah, that one is not going to go through. Let me choose another one. Let's try this one. Okay, that one's happier. Okay, so I'm going to do just simple wire wrapped loops, but I'm not going to close them until I have connected it to my hearts. So 90-degree bend, and I'm going to do like not a super, kind of a medium size right about there on my plier, and make my loop, rotate, bring that wire around. I want the wire to be right in the middle, centered on the loop. And now I am going to put this through. Let me open this just a tiny bit so I don't struggle. Just open that loop. And now I'm going to put it through my heart. And it's not going to move freely, so I'm going to have to, before I wire wrap, let me back this out. I need to create a little bit more space there. So I'm just going to pull this down just a little tiny bit. Just get my pliers in there. There's no leverage on this component. Okay, I just made a little bit more space there. I want my bracelet to this component to be articulated, and it's going to be hard for you to see, but like that. So I just didn't want the wire to be too tight in there, but I also don't want it to slip out. So I'm just going to maneuver my spiral just a tiny bit. That's perfect. Okay, now I'm going to just do a wire wrap, kind of ignore my heart component that's hanging off of here. Just get it in there so that I can wrap it. And so here's where like simple loops for me don't, with 22 gauge wire, they just don't feel a lot secure of noise enough outside. You guys, I'm gonna try to edit it out, but it's trash day and it makes my motion detector go off and my Ring doorbell, and just I don't know what that sounds like to you guys when I finish the video, but for me it's so loud. So I'm just going to tidy up this loop. It's a little bit difficult because I have no beads on there yet, but I can see my cut and I don't want anything sharp. Okay, so it looks like that. And now I'll put my pearl on. Look how beautiful that is. I just love it. And now I'm going to do another wire wrapped loop. Same thing on this end, 90-degree bend. Make my loop and not close it until it's attached to the other heart. Same thing, I like to center. Make sure that loop is centered on the wire. And then I'm going to give myself a tiny bit of space here. And let me just make sure I attach my hearts opposite. So this is going to go right here. And it moves freely. And same thing, I'm just going to, you know, kind of ignore everything that's in the way, get in there and close that loop and wrap it closed. Just take a second to align my loops. And so the beginning of my little bracelet component is done, and I need to repeat the same thing to connect this side. So now I have everything wire wrapped, and I'm just going to kind of get my pliers in here and align my loops. You know, it's a little tricky to get your wire down inside this component to wrap, but I did it and I didn't worry about the neatness at that point. I'm just going to come back and, you know, like get 2 pliers in there and straighten everything. And I think I am ready to connect that little bracelet bar. I love it. I think it moves nicely. So I think it's gonna add a nice articulation to my bracelet when I connect. So now this is just connecting. So I'm going to start on one end with a jump ring, and I made my gold jump rings out of 20 gauge wire. They look really nice against the copper. I decided I wanted to add a pearl in between my toggle and my component. I hope it doesn't make my bracelet too long, but I just really want to add a pearl. I think the pattern looks better with it that way. I love this. I was worried that by adding an extra pearl down here that I might have gotten my length too short, but I did not. I got my length just perfectly. I need between a 7 and a 7 1/4 inch bracelet. It is absolutely perfect, and I just love my own bracelet bar or bracelet component, and I love all of the components that I created, and the addition of pearls is just stunning. And then I like to sit and make decorative head pins, so I already had this decorative head pin made, and I just stacked some of the same elements on it from my bracelet, and I think it would be really pretty connected right here. So I'm going to take a little small jump ring. So my little trick for attaching my charms is not to attach through another jump ring, but rather to go around the circumference of my piece. So get it over like that. And so if you haven't seen this before, I'll show you why I do that. It's not wrong to do it the other way. I'm trying to hold this up to the camera, but I really need to lay it down on my mat. So why I do that is because now my charm never gets kinked. It goes 360 degrees around my piece. So whether I pick my bracelet up and put it on this way, or whether I do it this way, no matter which way I do it, my little dangle will, my little bauble will fall exactly where I need it to fall and not be stuck. So I am thrilled with this, but I have to tell you, I want more. Like adding in the pearls and adding in the black discs and the gold flower discs, adding that with the pink and the rhodonite and the copper, it's just beautiful. So I think I am going to make some more of these components and connect them kind of like this into a chain add-on for my base necklace that I've been working on. But that is so stunning. I love everything about it. It's like all my favorite things. So I do have a few components already made here, and I have a little heart that can get added on to my necklace. If I want to add a heart on my necklace, I'll see. So I need more of my 20 gauge wire. I'll show you exactly how I made those components. Oh, I have a piece right here. I'll show you exactly how I made those components, and then I'll get a few of them done off camera, and I'll show you, come back and show you how I'm going to create my add-in section for my chain. So I'm using my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper, and I'm just going to get my loop on one end. And when I have a lot of components to make, I just keep my tool in my hand. I swing it out of the way. So this one here is one of the pink crystals from the box, one of my gold flower disc spacers, one of my glass jet black discs, another flower disc, and then another crystal disc. And so that's one of the components that I made for my bracelet, and now I'm going to put it back in the tool. You can totally use your pliers to get your simple loops in. It's not wrong. I just like this tool, and I make so much jewelry and I do so much wire twisting that it really helps me to save my hand when I can, give it a break and let the tool do some of that for me. And then my other component that I did, I always like to put my pliers to everything and work hard in my loops. Sorry. The other component that I did is this one with the shell discs, and I just love the stacking of discs. So I'll need 4. Just choose 4 like random ones. And I started off with a disc and then one of my gold discs, and then another shell disc, black disc, and what did I do next? Shell disc, and then another gold flower disc, and finish with a shell one. And I just love, I don't know what it is about stacking those disc and rondelle shapes, but I think it's beautiful. To me, it looks like a bead in itself that's really textural with really cool lines. So I really love that. And so I'm going to make a few of these, and also did the bead caps with the rhodonite, and I tried to pick ones that had a little bit of black on them, and I do have to wire wrap some more pearls, but I am going to like create a little pattern here. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to create a little pattern and make a necklace that has no clasp, like an add-in section, just like the one I did last month. Just something I can add on to my base necklace. I did this with another box. I showed you this at the beginning. It's just still laying here on my table, but this one is almost like a pendant. I made it more like a pendant rather than a chain to add on. And when I made this necklace, when I made my base necklace, I did 3 add-on sections that can be layered on like a multi-layer, or you know, whatever I want, a single, 2, 3, and I did some strung add-in. So I'll link that video in case you didn't see it. It's just really great for jewelry makers to have like a base necklace, because I know that a lot of us get a lot of boxes every month, and we're constantly adding beads and getting inspired by new color stories, and it's so nice to just have a base necklace and have fun with beading patterns and doing what we do, and not having so many necklaces in our jewelry wardrobes. So let's see, I have 2 of those. I have 2 of these. Let me do one of these. Bead cap, rhodonite, and bead cap. Okay, all of my wire wrapping and simple loops are done, and the same thing has happened to me again, where I started out to do 1 chain to add into my base necklace, and I ended up doing another whole chain. So I can make a double strand of these pieces here. This box is so inspiring, and since I got it, I've been like squirrel. I start to make one thing and I can't focus my attention on it because there's so many possibilities. But on my second chain, I just created some additional components with the elements that I'm using, but on this one I did not put pearl. So I just created a little bit longer component here with the crystal, the shell, my gold disc spacers, my black glass disc spacers, and then I did a smaller component with the faceted rhodonite and all the same elements, and I connected everything with a jump ring. And now I'm going to use the same thing that I've used when I created my base necklace. I've been using these diamond cut gold filled jump rings. It's an Amazon find. I absolutely love the quality of these. They're so beautiful. So I'm just going to add those, and that's going to be what can loop into my my necklace lobster claw. I'm going to put one on each end, and I'm going to do the same thing on the second strand. I just love the quality of these. I have a hard time finding where they open because they're a nice thick gauge, but also that diamond cutting just makes it that if you close it really well, you cannot see that it's not a solid ring. So this is ready to go onto my base necklace. So again, I have styling options here. I can do a single strand, a double strand. This one is a bit shorter than the other one that I made. It is really cold here this morning, so I'm having a hard time. My fingers don't want to work. So I'm just going to add this in, and then I'll show you what I plan to do my connecting on my second one. So this is just so gorgeous. I love the little bit of mix. Now on this one, there is no copper. This one is all gold and pink and black. And so I can do this as just a beautiful chain necklace. But on this one, there is copper and pearl, and I'm going to do the same thing. I made a whole bunch of jump rings, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start at this end and connect everything with a jump ring. So these are made out of the 20 gauge anti-tarnish wire from Softflex Company. And I'm just going to make sure that everyone is closed. And so this second chain will be a little bit longer than this one, and I went ahead and wire wrapped the faceted tourmaline onto the heart, and I wire wrapped another little component with a pearl and all of my same elements to dangle from the bottom of this. And when this is all connected, I'm going to see if I actually want to use that. I just thought, and I was thinking to do it asymmetrically, like hang it off to one side of my chain. And so this will be longer, so I can wear this beneath this one. And this necklace is so cool because the lobster claws that I've used they're decorative and they're gold filled, but this is very large, so I can make as many strands as I can fit my rings in here. I can go from a single strand to 6 strands probably. I could make it a really busy necklace. So I'm gonna stop talking and start connecting. Just be a second for you. Just get all of these components connected, and these are the same ones that I did in my bracelet. So this one really coordinates with my bracelet really well. Okay, that is my last one, and I am going to do the same thing. Put one of these gold-filled jump rings on either end so they can attach to my base necklace, and this is done. My goodness, this box is so amazing. When I first got it, I thought, oh, I'll make a bracelet, and that turned into a pair of earrings in my first video, and then the bracelet was starting to turn into, let me do a necklace, and then now 2 necklaces. So I really love this box. If you are not familiar with the bargain bead box, it is a really great value. It's always got gemstones in it, usually always chain, nice long strands of beads. It is around $22, $23 a month, and there's free shipping if you're in the continental United States. It is an amazing value. And so I will put a link. I have a discount code on top of that, so I'll put a link in the description box of the video, so you can use my code if you're new and you're interested in getting the box. I had to pull out of the camera for a second because my necklaces are so long, but this one is done, and this one can attach. I can do these as a double, and this one will hang just slightly below my first one, or I can do them separately. So I do need it to be on the inside of my loop. And then I just want to decide, I'm going to attach these, and I just want to decide if I want to add this heart little dangle, like it's like a mini pendant. Look at that. And this is a little bit busy for me, like all these different beads and all these different components. But I have to say, part of why I felt good about doing all these different patterns is that the base necklace makes it so that it's not going all the way around my neck. And so I quite like that because the beads are just like in the front of my base necklace. And again, I can do this as a double strand, or I can do it as a single strand, but it is absolutely stunning. And so what I was thinking, let me spread this out. What I was thinking, my long necklaces are a little challenge for the camera. And move my beautiful little bracelet. I was thinking to hang this in an asymmetrical spot, like up here, or maybe even a little bit higher. I kind of like that. So what I think I'm going to do is attach it right there, and then I'm going to go to the mirror and try it on, and I may move it down one, but I think I am going to like this. So I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to attach it the same way that I do my bracelet over the circumference of my wire wraps here on the pearl, because that way, no matter which way I attach, because this is a convertible necklace, so no matter which way I pick up my beaded chain and clip it into my necklace, my little charm, like this is two-sided, so it doesn't matter which way I grab my chain. And so is my other dangle that I'm going to add in. Oh, that's so pretty. I love it. I do feel like I'm going to need an extra jump ring. I can already tell that I'm going to need an extra jump ring here. And so I made a lot of extras for that reason. So I'm going to take this off and add another. That is so much better. Magical jump ring. Can you see, like, now my heart is hanging below my beaded chain with that extra jump ring. And again, this charm can go all the way around. So no matter which way I attach my convertible necklace, you know, it's going to work. It's going to be facing the right way. And then I'm going to take another one of my jump rings and come right to my loop on the bottom of my heart and add in the little drop that I made. So all my elements, my black, my pearl, my gold, my copper, my rhodonite, and the pink crystals, they are all appearing on this necklace. I absolutely love this. I know that this is very long for my beading mat, so as always, there will be pictures at the end of the video. And again, don't forget to check the description box for links. I put all my favorite tools there that you always see me using for newer people, and anything that I've pulled into my project that I know where I got it. If I have recently purchased it, or if I know that I can get a link for anything that I've pulled in, it will be in that description box, and also my discount code for Bargain Bead Box. And I really hope you'll subscribe to my channel and tap the bell notification and a thumbs up. If you take the time to do that, it really helps support my work and tells the YouTube algorithm to keep showing my videos to more people. So it's just a detail, but it's really appreciated. So I thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody's safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. See you in the next video.